everyone. Welcome to Work Love Wednesday. Daisy and Smelter here for Work Love Wednesday. It is time for Work Love Wednesday. But today, I want to talk about, well, number one, I want to practice a moment of gratitude with all of you. And then I want to talk about this concept of intentionality, which really kind of smacked me in the face over the last week. And I think it's a really powerful lesson. And I've already kind of seen the possible outcomes of that lesson. And so I want to share that with you. But before that, I just want to be with you in a moment of gratitude because yesterday something really special happened. We've been working on a project with our York Media, locally here in York, Pennsylvania, to film new promo videos for Leadership Arts Associates. If you remember the first set that I filmed, they were actually like months when I launched my company that I didn't even know what my company was at that time. And it's really interesting watching them because you can tell that I'm absolutely terrified about, maybe you can't tell, but I can tell that I'm absolutely terrified and feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. And so we've really evolved a lot over the last almost 5 years. In October, we will hit our 5-year anniversary as an organization. And there's been a lot of changes and a lot of growth. And with that has come a lot of clarity on who we are, what we do, and the purpose that we want to share with the world. And one of the struggles that I always constantly have in anything that I create, things make sense to me, but I'm always concerned that they don't make sense to others when they are being communicated. I have always, I shouldn't say always, that's not true. I have received feedback multiple times that when I communicate, it is clear and there are, the messaging is coming through the way that it should. However, in my brain, when I am sending messages and signals, I sometimes have to check in and be like, does that even make sense? Because I don't know if it's just going so quickly, but there's just a lot going on. And so I am always concerned that there's a lack of clarity on the delivery side. And so yesterday we got to see our first sneak peek at these videos, which I think fairly soon we're going to get to share with you. And their ability to take the messaging between me and Mary Rose and really communicate with clarity why we do what we do every single day, why I make it a point to continue to develop myself and develop this business. And it was a real beautiful moment to see it play back to you in your own words, but for me to hear that message so clearly and know that it just feels right. And for a lot of the things that I do for a living, I mean, that's really at the core of it, is doing something that feels right. And knowing and trusting that intuitively you can be guided, and intuitively you have a purpose. And if you follow your intuition and learn the lessons on a daily basis, that you will start to do what you're meant to do in this world. So it was a really beautiful moment. I can't wait to share those videos with you so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But very, very exciting. Must be a very active morning today. I see everyone hopping on, hopping off. So I appreciate everyone checking in. That's pretty awesome. So intentionality. So intentionality, this message came through very strongly and clearly. I went to church this past Sunday, as I typically do. And in the message, they talked about growth. And one of the points was talking about intentionality and setting the intention. And it was really interesting to me because when he was sharing this message and talking about intentionality, Pastor Brian Newman made it a point to say that with intentionality comes planning and scheduling and all of that. And for most of my path of growth, when we talk about intention, even in studying traditional Chinese medicine, it is a thought, a strong intention that we put our energies towards. And as long as we put our energies towards that intention, it will all come through, which I still truly believe. But this other piece, this planning piece, this almost holding, it's accountability, it's follow through. It's not only do I wish or I want this to happen, but I'm going to be a part of making this happen. And so one of the things that really hit me when he started talking about this was that I have been seriously slacking this summer. So I've talked about my norms kind of went out the window between travel, between balancing with the girls. And now I'm in a place where I'm trying to figure out my new norms, but at the same time, those practices or disciplines, which if you read my favorite book in the world, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, he talks about simple disciplines, which are all about moving us small steps to the path of success. I had let by the wayside. And there are things like, since I found my writing voice, writing 300 words a day, 500 words a day towards the book, because I have 2 books that are work in progresses and they're kind of just stalled and stagnant. And that's because I haven't been doing what I need to do. It's not because I have writer's block. It's not because I don't know what to write about. It's because I'm not sitting down and doing what I know I need to do. It's about reading. I am loving traditional Chinese medicine. I'm loving my Qigong certification program. There's a lot of reading, and I would carry the book around but not really do it. And this is going back to Slight Edge habits, because some of these really changed my life. Reading 10 pages a day. 10 pages a day. In a week, you're reading 70 pages, and 10 pages is not a lot. And if you read 10 pages in a sitting, so 20 pages, it's not that much. It's way better than read a chapter or read, I'm going to read 4 50-page chunks. And so going back to that, reading 10 pages a day of my text, reading 10 pages a day of a book that's working on my growth, reading 10 pages a day of my daily meditation, spiritual kind of growth book. So these little tiny tasks that really add up throughout the day. And they don't take long to do. I found they take like 10, 15 minutes to do if I really sit down and focus and I get into a rhythm. And then things like even my daily Qigong practice, which has been really instrumental for me. Yes, ideally, half an hour, 45 minutes, like I got to do this morning, is awesome. With the way my schedule has been, it's not always possible, or I'm so tired. So the idea of trying to do a 45-minute practice is a little daunting. But there is a really solid 15-minute practice I can do. And so writing that out and setting that intention and following through, doing that 15-minute is huge. And so in the last week of it's not even a week, it's half a week of doing that, setting these little tiny goals, some really huge things of clarity have started to come through. Things that I have been so frustrated about even at work, making business decisions about what I want to do in one way or another. The clarity that has come through just by taking on and doing these simple disciplines. And despite whatever your belief system is, if you believe in God, if you just believe in the universe, if you believe in a higher power, if you just believe in your own inner strength and intuition, I still think that, regardless, everything has energy. And if we energetically put out that we want something, we've also got to show up. We've also got to be present. And in that moment, we become powerful. We become powerful manifestors of making anything happen that we want to. And the momentum is just huge. And that's where I am right now. I feel like the momentum is just really, really, really strong. And so to close out, kind of what I was talking about last week, and I wrote actually a blog post earlier this week that highlighted that too, talking about the One Dead giveaway that you're still a work in progress. This whole idea about life is a journey and not a destination. I was reading this book See, I have been reading daily. I've been reading this book. It's called A Course in Miracles. It's a spiritual text. It's a metaphysical text, but it has some really great thought provokers in it. And one of them, I think, really honed in on this for me. It says, the purpose of time is to enable you to learn how to use time constructively. It is thus a teaching device and a means to an end. Time will cease when it is no longer useful in facilitating learning. So, you could go really deep with this and say that time will cease when we have nothing left to learn, which is ultimately the destination, which is death or afterlife or the eternal life, whatever you want to say that is. But it even magnifies more the need to be present in the moment. If we live life going through the motions, and I know many of us do this if you're not very good at taking time off for yourself, or having a sense of balance in your life. I remember just kind of scraping the barrel of my energetic levels to get through to whatever vacation I had planned, and then spend the first half of the vacation almost completely just overwhelmingly exhausted. And then by the time I would recuperate, it would be time to basically come back. And we shouldn't have to basically completely drain our batteries to recharge them. We should constantly be taking care of ourselves and having our batteries filled so we can continue to do the things that we love, whether that's being present with our loved ones, being able to take on new adventures and opportunities as they present themselves. If we find ourselves just being tired, that's a sign that we're completely out of balance and we're not able to be present in that moment. We're not able to fully take in the lessons that we're going to learn at that time, so we continue to grow and continue to create the ripples that we're meant to create to change the world the way we're going to change the world. And I firmly believe that. I believe that all of us send ripples that change the world. And it might not be this, it's not this magnitude of a thing that happens that you change the world, but it's these little things that impact people that you haven't even seen or known, because you send this little ripple out there. Work Love Wednesday is like a testament to that. There's people who watch and they start doing things. I think that I'm just a little tiny pebble that caused a stir in someone who's then doing the work that they need to do to start changing the world. And I think that a lot of the suffering is because a lot of us are too tired to show up the way that we need to be those powerful individuals, to help heal the world, to help guide the world, to help share love and help eliminate fear. I mean, a lot of fear comes from just being tired, and whether it's being tired emotionally, being tired physically, and thinking that we're not going to tolerate something anymore. Coming from a place of love is empowering you to be in a state of full presence, to fully take in everything that is happening, the good, bad, and ugly. It's not really good, bad, and ugly. They're just different kinds of lessons. And I've talked about this before, where I think that some lessons to me get uglier because I'm not paying attention. I don't want to take it as this beautiful lesson that happens. I don't want it, but apparently I need the harsh, ugly lesson to get the point across. I have to have those moments where I feel like I'm hitting my knees and nothing else is possible for me to finally pay attention. But then looking back, I can see all these different situations where there were prime opportunities for me to pay attention and for me to listen and for me to learn that lesson in a very more ideal situation. And so I just, that is a massive kind of message there. And I just want to break it down just a little bit. And I know saying being fully present and don't overwork, and those are big tasks to just change overnight. And that's not going to happen. But I think this idea of being intentional, number one, energetically saying out loud, this is what I want. Even if it's something like, I want to be happy. But then following through with, what are some of the specific little disciplines that I need to be doing to make that happen? To add to that, whether that's in sales and I got to do a certain number of calls, I got to make a certain point of contacts, whether it is writing a book and I got to make sure that every day I write 300, 500 words, 75 words, depending on how hard it is for you. Whether it's I want to be a good mom, and so I'm going to ensure that every day I spend 30 minutes of dedicated time to my children with no other distractions, putting the phone down, shutting off all the electronics, not having the TV on, and really just focusing on my children. I want to get outside, so I'm going to take a walk every day for 10 minutes. At minimum, what are the simple things that you can almost affirm what you're putting out there energetically, saying, not only do I want it, but I'm willing to work for it too. And I'm here in this moment just as much as I'm expecting divine intervention or the universe or any kind of assistance to help me. Help me help you. What do you think of that? Anyways, so those are my thoughts for today. Have a great Wednesday and the rest of the week. And I will talk to you next Wednesday, if not before.